Welcome back to the Culture of Currency, where today we're tackling the might of Europe. I have a handful of nations here that might be worth your attention and some cool series that you might want to start yourself, just so you know what's out there to see, what kind of European influence you need in your stack or collection. So let's go ahead and start with this classic. This comes from the land of Armenia. This is one of the most amazing and traditional, I would say, world bullion rounds. This is, of course, the Noah's Ark. We see the Ark there. We see the Dove of Peace carrying the olive branch. If you don't know anything about the ties of Christendom as a religion and Armenia, it would be a good thing to watch my video over this coin. It's a beautiful coin, really cool, 500 dram. And if you look right there, you see the Ark resting upon Mount Ararat. Really cool. So that's Armenia. Let's go next to, why not go to Austria? Austria is known for this. This is the Philharmonic right there. Beautiful Philharmonic world bullion coin, one of the most iconic out there, one of the most mass-produced. Obviously, Austria is the home of people like Mozart, and thus being said, has kind of a high influence on the world music scene, especially when we talk about the old schools of music, with Austria, Vienna, being one of the schools of music back in the day, where experts would go learn the craft. So this is the Philharmonic, the Philharmonica. You see Republik Österreich, Austria, right? Beautiful. Here's another Austrian coin. This is Wiener Neustadt, which is going to be a whole town, basically, and founded by the ransom of the Lionheart King of England. If you know Robin Hood and that story of the Third Crusade of King Henry leaving to go fight in the Crusades, he gets captured, and basically the ransom silver is what leads to the taxation, where the legend of Robin Hood was kind of created, and then that paid for this, which is kind of cool, as we see a maybe a Norman period. I'm not sure exactly what period of artwork this knight is on this side, but it's really cool. I had all three in this series, but I have sold two of them to Czech Stacker, as he is a lover of these things. All right, next, let's go to a quandary. I didn't know where to put this nation because they're kind of off by themselves. As you know, there's not many Atlantic islands, but this one is St. Helena, or Helena, depending on how you pronounce it. But this is a big island in the Atlantic. It is a English protectorate, but I don't necessarily know exactly where it stands. It's kind of by itself, so I went ahead and threw it in the English type of coins. But this is one of their coins, as you see on the reverse here. We've got Hera pushing her, I don't know what you'd call it, chariot of peacocks. But it's a beautiful coin. And what I love about this particular nation is a lot of their coins, if you can see right there, I don't know if we can zoom in on that. It's not going to really let me. I'll try to get a close-up for you. But that is the mint mark of the East India Company. So if you remember, the Dutch East India Company was a huge historical naval kind of merchant marine. They would go around the world and transport goods and help trade and all that kind of stuff. The East India Company would have been the one who brokered deals, for example, on a lot of the early American goods coming to our country. Speaking of that, here's Charles. Right there, we have 2023 nautical lines, and we have, there it is, the East India Company badge right there. And this is talking about the Boston Tea Party, which, fun fact, obviously we know in the Boston Tea Party, the Americans threw the English tea into the harbor. Well, what would have been the company that brought the English tea to America? None other than the East India Company, which is crazy, which they do have a website. They have high dollar luxury goods such as bullion coins, but also beautiful items like tea and other implements. So it might be worth checking out if you love history. Really cool. And another from St. Helena, Charles there, 2023. This is in the Indian Wildlife Series. Obviously, we know India was once a protectorate for the most part of England. And as such, their value of money was called cash. And this is the lion-tailed macaque, which is going to be a macaque that is found right there in India. Highlights their once joined union between the nations. And lastly, we have kind of the flagship of St. Helena. Beautiful coin. As you see, it says 1.25 pounds. Yes, pounds. And that's because this is 1.25 ounces of silver. This is how it comes. And it is, I haven't done a video over this yet, but this is a really cool image of the scepters, shields, crowns, so on and so forth. I'll have to look into the history of it all, but it is gorgeous and is one that I see on APMEX on sale quite frequently at spot. So it is a gorgeous one to add to your collection. Where should we go next? Let's go here. This is an interesting one. You see the Montrovian eagle here, the linden tree, a little bit of toning and milk spotting. But we see the seal of Niue, which is an island in the Pacific, but they meant on behalf of this nation, and this is going to be the Czech Republic. As we see the beautiful lion right there, and the King Wenceslaus crown. We also see Česká republika, which I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's the Czech Republic. Gorgeous. It is highly beautiful. If mine was not milk spotted, it would look much better, but it is a gorgeous design. And another one sent by the Czech stacker to me, which if you don't know who that is, go check out his channel. We do have the seal of Niue again, but right here we see the first American dollar, and where we get the word dollar comes from their word taler, which Austrian stackers seems to think that it's an Austrian thing, not a Czech thing, but hey, it was all basically the same nation back then. Here we have the first thaler, which inspired our dollar, the Czech thaler. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Czech stacker, for sending that my way. Next, we'll go to Germany, which this is not a bullion coin. It's close to a bullion coin. I think it's 90%. This is one I just picked up and thought it was cool and you might like. This was from the Olympics back in the day. As you can see, Republik Deutschland. 10 Deutschmark. Looky there. The Olympics of Munich, 1972. I actually had an uncle who was a judge in these Olympics. Really cool. We'll go to Gibraltar next. This is the series from Gibraltar that I really like. It ties into their history. All of these coins have videos, by the way, if you're interested. This is the war elephant. It is speculated that Hannibal landed his Carthaginian army there in Gibraltar and took his elephants with him and basically traversed the Alps and came and attacked Italy from the north, Rome from the north. All right, now let's go to maybe my favorite new European coin, Malta. Malta is a little island there in the Mediterranean. It is European. This is the Maltese cross. This is a mass-produced bullion coin. It is one of the finest I've seen. I believe it is done by the Pressburg Mint. There is the Central Bank of Malta's seal. Gorgeous. I highly recommend you all picking one of these up if you haven't done it already. And a more low mintage variety from Malta. We see a ornate design. Just gorgeous there. The light does some crazy things with this. And on this side we have the golden eagle attacking the snake. which is interesting iconography. It said on the island of Malta is where Paul converted some centurions on his way to plead his case to the Pope. Well, really Caesar at that time, not the Pope. And a viper bit him, and he was there unharmed, and it made the centurion guards think that this was a real thing, and so then it helped spread the message as they traveled to Italy. All right, next, another one of my favorites, the Netherlands. These are restrikes of old coins. This is a ducat or Ducatenrijder. And this would be a restrike of a old coin from the Netherlands. Just gorgeous, and I love the historical accuracy, and that is why this may be one of the coolest out there, along with the idea of their privy marks. So there's a little raven right here. The mint master gets to choose a mint mark for himself, a privy mark, and his last name has the word raven in it. So there's a little raven right there. Really cool touch. And here is another one to show how awesome the Netherlands are doing. This is the lion. This is another restrike from an ancient coin. Really cool. I love how accurate to the original art this series is. It is splendid. And now we go to England, of course. There's many more nations. These are just the ones I pulled on head on hand. Queen Elizabeth, may she rest in peace. Here is Robin Hood. This comes from the Robin Hood series, which had people like Maid Marian and Little John. And this is the Robin Hood, probably standing on a live oak branch, shooting an arrow. Of course, we have the classic Britannia. This is not the updated variety, but rather the old one. You can kind of see where we've come. It's still beautiful. And what I love about this one is that it has a privy. Some of these old Britannias have privies, and this is the year of the snake, so there's a little snake there doing little snake things. Here we have Charles. Nope, not Charles, sorry, the Queen. And this is going to be the Valiant King George, or St. George, sorry, not King George, St. George and the Dragon. Really cool coin there. There's King Charles. So you'll notice it's very rare you see him with a crown on. This means it's a coronation version of this coin. And this is going to be the Britannia. So this is a coronation version of the Britannia, which an updated version, as you can see, the radial lines in the background, all that kind of cool stuff that it has. Another English coin here. Love how in the field they have these little ribs that just dazzle the eye. And here is one of their lunar series. This is the lunar rat, the rat being the first in the animal cycle. Clever rat. Climbed on the back of the ox, knowing the ox was a good swimmer, and when they went across the river, the rat jumped from the nose of the ox, being the first to reach the Jade Palace. Smart little guy there. And lastly, the royal coat of arms. Gotta love that. Really cool one to have in your collection. So how'd you do? Hopefully you have some of these. Maybe you have all of them. Maybe you've got even more. I don't know. But these are European coins that I absolutely love and think that they have some of the coolest designs in all of silver, and think that maybe you should think about getting a handful of these. But that's all we have today. Please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.